Hello, and welcome to episode 145 of Design Curious Podcast. I'm your host and mentor, Rebecca Ward. Today on the podcast, I'm just trying to get a pulse on where we stand in interior design now that it's 2025. There's a lot that's been going on in the last year, then going back about 15, 20 years just to see where we've come. That's what I've been exposed to. That's my experience in the industry. And so I can speak to that. And so we'll get into that and see if it's a direction that you want to pick up the baton now and keep going forward with this ever-changing career. So let's talk about it. You're now listening to Design Curious, a place where you, creative one, are here to learn about what it really is like to be an interior designer. And I'm your host and mentor, Rebecca Ward. If you're worried about how to succeed in a creative career, if you're ready to learn your next steps to become an interior designer, and if you want the satisfaction of doing something you love every day, you are in the right place. Grab a coffee, a notebook, and let's dig into today's episode. So, what does our industry of interior design look like in today's world? It has changed a lot in the last year, in the last 5 years, and even in the last 15 years. I feel like it's changed quite a bit from when I started out. One of the most significant changes that has recently caused shifts in our industry is pandemic and post-pandemic situations. So during the pandemic, we obviously had an increase in projects. People were spending time in their homes and realizing, I don't actually love my home. I don't want to be here. It doesn't look like me. It doesn't feel great. It's not functional. It's not the right size. A lot of people moved because they could work remotely. So they wanted to go find a place that would work for them. So there was a huge uptake of new projects from 2020 through 2023. And because of that, we, of course, experienced so many shortages of time and materials, not only because there was a high demand for it, but because of the supply chains were cut down. And so there was a lot of delay happening there. But then in the last couple of years, post-pandemic, there has been a decline in the number of projects. Possibly one of those things could be because so many people did their projects just recently during the pandemic, and their home is now looking great and they don't need to do anything. Now they can go and travel the world and vacation, what they couldn't do during the pandemic. And so that has definitely affected our industry. A lot of designers have seen a slower downturn of projects, which might be for the better for a lot of them. I think a lot of designers were becoming unbalanced in their life because there was so much work to do. So now they can slow down, take on the projects that they really love, and find that balance in their life of not having to work all the time. Another shift that came out of that time was that there's a lot of people working from home. Like I said, a lot of people now can do their job from anywhere. Although there's been a shift back by some government mandates is saying that people have to return from the hybrid working schedule to be in the office most of the time. But most situations will still allow for at least one day a week from home. So those working spaces at home need to also be sufficient for the work that needs to be done. Over the last 15 years, I would say there's been an increase for sustainable design. As we become more and more aware of climate change and all of the impacts that industry has had, we are looking for cleaner air, cleaner homes inside and outside, so that where we're sourcing materials has low carbon footprint, and then also the materials that we're using inside are not off-gassing and causing poor air quality. So there's a lot that needs to be considered. A lot of testing that has gone towards that, and a lot of regulations, especially in California, that have encouraged homeowners to choose more sustainable living patterns. There's definitely a movement for electric devices over natural gas. And hopefully as a result, we have cleaner interiors and environments where we sleep and eat and play and work. In the last 15 years, there's also been the rise of social media. I remember making a few of my first posts when Instagram first came out. Mostly it was travel. I posted my daughter. The people weren't necessarily, I wasn't noticing that they were using it for work. But now it is a platform to showcase our portfolios, to showcase our work. And everybody loves to see the finished product. It's a great place for people to fall into the trap of comparison and see that other people's homes are beautiful and have been beautifully designed, and they want that for their home as well. So they're going to go hire that designer or go take a course or learn how to maybe have a home and be an influencer themselves or a content creator. So that whole area of exposure has opened up to worldwide exposure. Designers can work globally more easily now than they ever could, thanks to digital collaboration. You can Zoom with someone on the other side of the world and not be tied to just one location. So the world has gotten a lot smaller in that sense. So yeah, there's a lot of changes in the industry in the last 15 years. And then, of course, to mention just within the last year, the thing that has been affecting our industry most top of mind are tariffs, on again and off again, and trying to find where those will be absorbed. If it's going to be the manufacturer, the importer, the designer, or the client. That uncertainty in our financial markets has definitely caused a slowdown recently for a lot of designers. It doesn't mean a slowdown for everybody. Some people have been saving for their remodel for years, and now they're just ready to go. It doesn't matter what's happening outside of their circumstances. They have the money and they're ready to do the remodel. Prices are only going up, of course, so now is always a better time to do it than later. The prices will not be coming down, is what I tell everybody. It was probably during the pandemic when lumber was extremely high, and we were talking to someone who was going to build their house, and he said he was going to wait until prices came down. And lumber prices did regulate again. They weren't quite so skyrocketing high as they were at one point during the pandemic. However, now the cost of everything else has gone up, and it probably would cost just the same now as it did back in 2021. There's no way around it. The price is what it is, and now it's better than later if you have the money and you're ready to start your remodel. As far as careers in interior design, let's talk about how those have changed in the years previous. Residential designers are still in demand, especially high-end and whole home remodels. More clients are hiring or becoming aware of interior designers. That is a service that you can aspire to hire. Even for the middle to upper middle class, those will still seek out some expertise. They might not be full service projects, but they are definitely looking for maybe one-time consultations, directions, advice, or even maybe a Zoom consult, like calling someone on the expert, having an hour with an expert to get their design in place, and then they can go on their own. So both have seen a very steady growth in the economy and in the zeitgeist, I would say, as far as designers are. I mean, back in the day, early days of interior design, interior decorating being even a career, very few people had decorators, only the wealthy. It was not something a lot of people did. Now there's, I don't know what the numbers are, 40,000 designers in the U.S., and it's just growing. It's something that everybody loves and everybody wants to do. And of course, that's probably why you're here listening to the podcast, because you want to know about the career and see if it's a good fit for you to change over to or invest your time and energy into it. Are you dreaming of launching your own interior design business, but feeling totally overwhelmed by where to start? I get it. There's so much to figure out. Business structure, branding, contracts, clients. It's enough to stop you before you even begin. That's why I created Launch Your Business Bootcamp, an 8-week course designed to take you from confused to confident. Each week, I guide you step by step through setting up your business, building your brand, creating your client process, and launching with clarity and support. I'm holding your hand the entire way. You don't have to figure this out alone. If If you're ready to finally turn your passion into real, profitable business, join me and a group of like-minded creatives in the next session this summer. Spots are limited, so sign up now at rwarddesign.com/launch your business bootcamp. Your business won't launch itself, so let's do this together. Like we talked about a little bit before, virtual and e-design specialty has been on the increase since its birth several years ago. Of course, Zoom and all those other teleconferencing platforms have made it attainable with low overhead. It's very scalable. Look at the expert. And it's great for designers starting out who need flexibility in their work and are trying to reach more people who are maybe outside of their immediate area. Now, interior design content creation and education has definitely been on the rise with the increase of people creating courses, being on YouTube, Instagram, podcasting like this, educating clients, mentorships, coaching platforms, sponsorships, affiliate links, and influencer accounts. That has all in the last 5 years really boomed. Everybody loves, I think it stemmed from watching HGTV shows. Everybody really loved when those started becoming popular. It's like the home makeover. People want to see the transformation happen and really got a taste for that. And so when it moved over into the more digital space, it's just has been well loved by everybody in every household, basically. Interior design has become more of a household thing, a household name, something to watch for entertainment or to dabble in. That has definitely changed our industry in the last 5 to 10 years as it's come on the rise. But a lot of people can make quite a good living off of being an influencer or having affiliate links or paid courses and things like that. It's definitely a route to go if that's something you love and something that clicks. There are definitely accounts and designers out there who have a great media presence and they love doing that. Another area you can move into in 2025 is to become a trade specialist or a color specialist, color consultant, or an expert in your niche. Carving out niches has been a great way to specialize. And when you're a specialist, you can usually get those clients that are just looking for you. Sustainable design, color psychology, feng shui, or just kitchen and bath. There's a lot of different options now besides just being an interior designer. You could just be a feng shui expert if you want to. It's in more demand than ever due to overwhelming choices for clients. So sometimes, I don't know who I need, but I'm looking for feng shui for my house. So then they're going to Google feng shui designer. And then if that's what you're marketed as, you'll come up. I guess it's appropriate to mention that Google and having websites has definitely changed our industry as well. I mean, I haven't been in it for that long, have I? It's 18 years now, but it does seem like when I first started out, many designers did not even have a website. They maybe had a web page. Of course, they're in the yellow pages, and that was a thing for a while, but website, I was one of the first people to have a website. I remember someone saying, and I had just used a template that I found and put some information up there, and someone said, wow, you have a really great website. Most people don't even have more than one page. Gosh, I do sound really old, but it really wasn't that long ago. And so it has changed in the last 18 years for sure. Whereas now you have to have a website. You have to showcase your portfolio. People are not going to trust you unless they have something that can verify who you are and what you do. And then there's always the option, if you are looking to be a designer in today's age in 2025, you can be an in-house designer for other companies, for an architecture firm. You can be a design assistant for another designer to gain experience while learning. And more firms than ever are hiring employees and looking for long-term sustainability to build a team. And so it's a great time to get hired by designers. Some things that might be changing: licensing and education requirements seem to be less and less important as the digital age rises. Of course, I do always recommend a college degree for the experience if you have the time, money, and ability to do that. But like I said, it's not necessary. There's no threshold really to get into interior design residentially. Of course, if you're going to do it commercially, you might need that. You definitely have to get some certification and possible licensing depending on your state. Your tech skills can be learned online. If you want to do drafting, 3D rendering, mood boards, you can learn all of that through YouTube and take a course. So it makes it really attainable and easy to do in your off hours. If you're trying to switch careers, it's something you can do in evening school. AI and other design tools like that have definitely made their mark on interior design lately. Just even using ChatGPT for rendering. I've tried it out myself and it has proven to be pretty good. The initial photo they send to you, but of course, if you try to manipulate, it's going to change everything. So you can't always do it with ChatGPT, but there's definitely some great rendering tools out there that help it to be realistic for your client, help them visualize it in a way they never were able to do 20 years ago. There's so much of that now that even some firms have been looking, I think I heard it was in Japan, they're going back towards hand rendering, like more of that abstract, a little bit watercolored render as artwork, because the client is just so impressed by that type of a skill more than they are with the AI digital rendering anymore, because you've seen that so much in the last 5 to 10 years. And then business model shifts have changed too. People are not necessarily from 9 to 5. They can work different hours, make your schedule whatever you want. If you want to do hourly, if you want to do value-based or flat fee pricing, there's a lot of flexibility. I don't know if there's ever been one way to do it in design. Of course, design has never been more transparent. I'd say the industry is more transparent than it's ever been before, so you can get an inkling on how to run your business and what you should be charging. Whereas 15 years ago, that was not available to you. It's very closed fist. Hopefully that gives you some great information on where we're standing now, how far we've come, and maybe it's the right path for you to go forward in this. Things change all the time, and you have to be willing to adapt to whatever society is looking for. I don't think AI is going to take our jobs. I don't think that they can understand a client's needs as much as a designer can. And sometimes people don't want to talk to a computer. They want to talk to a person. They want a person to take on all the project management, of course, but just even understanding what they need. Talking to a person is always great, right? So while AI could maybe come up with some solutions, it might not be the best one. I think there's always going to be a need for interior designers out there, and there's going to be even more opportunity as we develop more applications and more software to help us run our businesses better and to be more creative. So let me know your thoughts about how the career has changed over the last 20 years and if I addressed all of the points that you might be concerned about or brought up some interesting things to think about, what the career entails at this point. It's come a long way since Elsie DeWolf and Dorothy Draper and all of those at the beginning of our career who set the stage for us, but doesn't mean it's any less enjoyable or any less creative or fulfilling. And I think that it's only going to get better from here as long as we learn to pivot and go with the flow and embrace change. It's all about mindset work. If you're going to need some of that mindset work, don't forget to get into My Design Mentor. And of course, right now we have the Launch Your Business Bootcamp going on. Doors are open. We are going to start our one-on-one meetings in July, so you want to get in there right now. And I can't wait to meet you. All right, that's all I have for you this week. Next week, we'll have another great episode. And until then, stay creative. Thanks for listening. If you love this episode, please leave a rating and a review. This helps me reach other curious creatives like you. If you have a topic request or would like to contact me, simply head over to my website, rwarddesign.com, or email me at podcast@rwarddesign.com.